You're listening to The Head Trash Show with the founder of Head Trash, Alexia Leachman. Head Trash is the home to the new and unique Head Trash clearance method that removes unwanted negative thoughts, feelings and emotions quickly and effectively so that you can achieve clarity, confidence and contentment in your life. Tune in every week as Alexia shares insights and simple strategies to help you create some headspace to experience confidence and clarity in your life and business. To find out how to clear your head trash quickly and effectively using our unique method, pop over to www.headtrash.co.uk to get our free download and subscribe for our free head trash clearance updates. And now for the show.
Hello and welcome back to the Head Trash Show. This is me, your host, Alexia Leachman, and thank you so much for joining me today. Now, what kind of week have you had? I have to say, I've had a brilliant week, and mainly because last weekend I went and did Kevin Lay's course. Now, if you don't know who Kevin Lay is, cast your mind back a few weeks. He was on the podcast just a couple of weeks ago, and he is the Jedi Master of Personal Change. And he had a course coming up, which was called his SciTap course. And this is where he brings together the best of everything there is out there, the best of thought field therapy, the best of havening, the best of NLP, the best of, well, all sorts of really cool stuff, but also lots of really new stuff. So I was privy to learning some brilliant new techniques, including basically his new training is called Jedi Training. So now I'm a Jedi practitioner. Get me, right? I'm a Jedi. Brilliant. And so one of the things that we were learning during the 4-day training was how to use our lightsabers. I kid you not, I have a lightsaber and I can heal traumas, phobias and fears and any other little head trash nasties really quickly using my lightsaber. Now, it's not really a lightsaber, or at least it's not as big as the Star Wars lightsaber, but it is a light. And it's probably nearer the size of a pen, but it's equally as magical. So if you are based here in the UK and you want some lightsaber Jedi therapy, then we just need to do some face-to-face work. But seriously, I could now help you to clear some of this negative, like fears, phobias, traumas, all that stuff with my Jedi lightsaber. So do come onto the website and book yourself a session quick, smart. There really aren't many of us that are trained in this. I think there's only 50 of us globally that are trained in as a Jedi practitioner, and I'm quite happy to call myself a Jedi practitioner. It's so exciting. Anyway, that's enough of me witching on about what I've been up to. I hope you've had a fabulous weekend. And today I want to get back to today's podcast. So today on the podcast, I'm going to be talking to you about self-love. This is a kind of a big topic that I think a lot of us shy away from a bit, because maybe we know deep down that we probably don't love ourselves as much as we should. Sure, we know how to love others. We find that maybe quite easy, although some people do find that challenging. But loving ourselves, that's a whole different kettle of fish. And unfortunately, a lot of the ways that we might not be able to love ourselves will probably stem from our childhood and the way that our main caregivers treated us as children. Because let's not forget, up until the age of 10, we're pretty much sponges and we just believe everything that is said to us. So even some offhand comments from our parents or teachers or anyone else that may have been around us as children will have just been imprinted into our emotional landscape, and they are still with us today, which might mean that we really, really struggle with self-love. But let's not get too stressed about the fact that we might not love ourselves, and let's try and do something about it. And that's what I want to cover on today's podcast. So what is self-love? Well, when I was thinking about this, I thought, well, as with most things, we're not always sure what something is. Sometimes it's much easier to figure out what it isn't. So what is not loving ourselves? What does that look like? And I guess that a lot of us are going to be able to relate to some of these quite easily. So, I mean, this first one, regular negative self-talk. I mean, this is head trash. This is what all my work's about, goddamn. If you listen to this podcast, then I'm thinking that you've probably got a bundle of negative love going on in your life, because it's all about the head trash, but regular head trash, regular negative thoughts, feelings and emotions. But what might that sound like? Well, it might sound like putting yourself down with talk of discouragement and this, saying how silly you are or stupid you are and all that kind of stuff. Maybe you push yourself to do things that you just don't like doing. What are you doing? Would you force a good friend of yours to do something that they don't want to do? Probably not, right? Maybe you become angry at yourself when you make mistakes. Easily done. The best of us do it, I'm sure, but does it happen a lot? Or maybe you're critical about yourself, perhaps your body, your decisions, your behaviour, the way that you look, the choices that you've made. I mean, I could go on, but essentially you criticise yourself regularly, and you're more likely to criticise yourself than congratulate yourself. Because let's face it, how often do you look at yourself in the mirror and go, hey, looking good, thumbs up, a little bit of a confidence walk up and down the corridor at home or in front of the mirror? How often does that happen? Probably not enough, and maybe it needs to start happening more in your life. But also, when you've made a good decision, do you take the time to stop and say, hey, that was an amazing decision, I was so glad I did that? Or are you more likely to sort of curse yourself for making a rubbish decision? And what about this one? You tend to put other people first. Now, this is a common one with mums. They tend to put the whole family first and don't put themselves first. But actually, it's really important to put yourself first. And, selfishness gets a bit of a bad rap, and you might want to check out my recent podcast about why being selfish is a good thing. But this is a really important one. You need to put yourself first, perhaps not all the time, but certainly bring the balance back so you're not putting other people first all of the time. Now, what about this next one? You find it hard to speak up for yourself. A lot of people do struggle with this one, and really maybe they keep quiet when they really should say something. Maybe they go along with the flow or what's going on and they don't really want to take part, but they just daren't speak up. So it's really important to own what you want to do and to really vocalise that and let other people know. Because at the end of the day, I'm sure other people don't want you to be doing things that don't make you feel comfortable, that you don't want to do, and would rather that you say something. So again, if you find it hard to speak up for yourself, maybe you are suffering for a bit of lack of self-love. Now, this next one's really important as well. I'm saying they're all important because they all are, actually, because loving yourself is a really important thing. But this one particularly so. You find it hard to exercise, eat well, or break bad habits. This is a typical one. So if you find yourself picking out on junk food, drinking a load of alcohol, even just to reward yourself on a weekday evening, and you actually find yourself rewarding yourself, and I'm using the word reward in inverted commas, but if you reward yourself every night of the week just for getting through another day at work, then you are not employing positive self-love habits here. This is about not looking after yourself and not respecting yourself and your body. So maybe you find it hard to break those bad habits or to eat well, and basically look after yourself and respect yourself. But again, this looking after yourself it's not just about exercise and eating well. It's about maybe the concern you have for your outward appearance and also the appearance of your environment. Maybe if your plants are dying, if your house is a mess, if it just looks a complete bomb site where you live, you're not respecting your environment, which is a reflection of yourself. And finally, I could go on forever here, to be honest, but I'm going to draw a line under this last one. You feel insecure when other people are doing well, and perhaps you get offended, or maybe you feel bad somehow when other people get what they want. Now, I know that's an easy one. You see somebody else driving past in a swish car and you just think, oh, I wish I had that car, or I wish I had that lovely job, or she's so lucky, she gets to do this, that and this with her life. She goes on this holiday and I wish I could go on these holidays. It's very easy to kind of fall into that trap. But if you find yourself doing that, then, maybe just focus on the good things that you've got in your life. And often those people that have a lot of money, maybe they don't have a lot of other stuff in their life that you just can't see. Maybe they're filling their lives with some of these material objects because they just don't have the good friends or the good family that live near them, and all that kind of stuff that you just can't see outwardly in the same way. So it's easy to judge other people and start coming to conclusions about our own lives when we see some of the things that other people have. But it's really just not worth doing. But I'm going to stop there in terms of all these telltale signs because it could get quite depressing. So let's try and sort this out. How can we start turning this around? But really, in order for us to do that, I think it's really important to have a good idea as to what self-love is. What does it look like? You know, if you saw it walking down the street, how would you know it was self-love? You need to know what you're looking for, right? So what is it? For me, and this is not this final word on this subject by any means, but for me, when I think about this, I think that self-love is really a combination of self-acceptance, self-awareness, kindness and respect for ourselves. And really it's both an idea. Self-love is both an idea, so a concept in our minds that we're sort of worthy of self-respect and gentleness, but it's also an action. It's something that we do. So we actually treat ourselves with compassion and love. We do things to make ourselves feel better. We make decisions that will make ourselves feel good in the moment. This is all about doing. So it's not all about just thinking about how we feel about ourselves. It's about what we do to show ourselves that we love ourselves as well. So this is all brilliant, sure, but how do we turn things around? Well, here we are. Here's some sort of practical things that I think you can do to start turning it around. And it's very much working at the conscious level. So some of the things you might want to start considering doing at a conscious level is really, grab a paper and spend some time writing a list of all the things that make you awesome and brilliant. Yeah, just go for it. Indulge. Have fun with it. Come up with a list of 100 things that make you awesome and just enjoy rereading that list. Put little post-it notes around the house and just remind yourself how amazing you are. Ask your friends and family. They will be more than happy to tell you how amazing you are, because remember, it's much easier to tell other people than it is to tell ourselves, and maybe you can return the favour. Once you do it for them, they'll realise how amazing they feel once you tell them how amazing they are, that they'll be more than happy to do it for you too. So that's the first thing. Now, the second thing I think you can do is this. Remember to take time to celebrate your successes. And no matter how small, again, but just remember that you don't fall into the trap of rewarding yourself with, takeaways, junk food, weekday alcohol, all that kind of stuff, because that's you're totally misreading it if that's how you're choosing to reward yourself. There are much better ways, other things that you can be doing to really treat yourself. Think about how you would treat somebody else to show them that you love them. You'd buy them little gifts. You leave them little messages around the place. You'd take them to do things that they enjoy doing. So those are the sorts of things that you can do for yourself. And this leads me on to my next one. Do things that make you feel amazing. Don't do things that make you feel rubbish. Do things that really make you feel good, that you enjoy doing. Why fill your life with stuff that you don't like doing? It's just not worth it. Life is too short. So yeah, do stuff that makes you feel awesome. And another thing you can do is come up with some positive affirmations and just cite them to yourself regularly. Just come up with stuff. I am amazing. I am awesome. I'm good. I'm amazing because, and start saying this stuff to yourself. And it might sound really cheesy at the beginning, but you've got to start owning it. And even if it does feel a bit funny, just keep doing it. My daughter's brilliant with this. She's constantly saying to me how she is so big and strong. I'm big and strong, mummy. I will not be ill. I'm so big and strong. She had chickenpox this week, which has been a bit of a nightmare. Hence me not getting a lot done in my business right now. But thankfully she's back at nursery now. But she was saying, I'm not going to be ill, mummy, because I'm big and strong. I'm big and strong and I'm not going to be ill. And she totally believes that she is big and strong, but she's always saying that to herself. I'm also telling her that she's big and strong too, thanks to the broccoli that she regularly eats. This is a story. This is why broccoli is so amazing, because it makes you big and strong, and she totally believes that now. So this is a good thing. She's a sponge, and I'm taking full advantage of it. So do these positive affirmations and say them to yourself regularly. But then also catch yourself saying the negative things. If you find yourself cursing yourself or saying, oh, what a stupid thing you've just done. Why did you do that? You're so stupid. Then catch yourself, but don't just catch yourself. Rewrite that script. Say it to yourself again, but changing it to a positive phrase. Oh, I can't believe I said that, but next time I get in this situation, I will do this. I've learned from this situation, and I will say it differently next time. And this will make it much easier for you to respond differently next time. But as you know, if you follow this podcast, this is all very well doing the conscious stuff, but I'm way more interested in doing all that deep conscious stuff, going down deep into the subconscious and doing a little bit of rewiring. And so this is what I want to suggest next, because all this conscious stuff is all very well and good, and it is worth doing, but it can take a while to take effect. And while you're in that transitionary phase, it can feel a little bit uncomfortable and hard work, and you might just ditch your effort. And so for me, I prefer to take the shortcuts, even if it means it's a little bit painful, a little bit difficult, and I pick up a few scratches along the way. I'd much prefer to have a little bit of short-term pain for a long-term gain. That's the way I prefer it, and that's why I love using this 5-step clearance method that I go on and on about. So, of course, what I'm about to suggest next will involve using the 5 steps head trash clearance method. So if you haven't got your copy free from our website, then go to headtrash.co.uk. On the homepage, you can grab your free copy of the 5 steps to clearing head trash method. And that is what I want you to use in terms of what I'm about to suggest next. So the first thing you need to do is this: create neutrality around the core aspects of self-love. So those are the things I talked about before. You know what I said? We need to know what self-love is so that we can identify it and spot it if it was walking down the street. So some of those things I talked about was love, loving yourself, respect, respecting yourself, accepting yourself, being kind, putting yourself first, all those sorts of things. So those are the kind of things that I want you to add to your head trash clearance to-do list and create neutrality around each of them in turn. Now, this is all in the podcast show notes, so if you're worrying that you're not getting all of this because you're driving your car, you're at the gym, whatever, don't worry. It's all at the website on the podcast show notes, headtrash.co.uk/self-love. That's where you can find everything that I'm talking about today. So that's what you need to do. Add these things to your head trash clearance to-do list and neutralise them one by one. And of course, remember to do the opposite for everything that you're doing as well. You need to clear both ends so that they are fully cleared within your system. And also, when it comes to the mantras, you might have to get a little bit creative to make sure that they make sense for you. Because remember, what we're doing here is we're talking about respecting myself, loving myself. So there's the word myself within there. So you might need to play around with the phrases when you do this. If you have any worries about this, you know where I am. You just email me at hello@headtrash.co.uk and I will put you straight. Now, the next thing I want you to do is this. And this you might find quite hard, but you've just got to persist with it, and it's worth doing. I want you to sit in front of the mirror, calmly look yourself in the eye and say this: I love you. And just repeat it. I love you. I love you. Change your tonality. Play with your tonality. And continue repeating this to yourself and notice what you feel. Like I said, you might find this quite hard and it might even bring tears to your eyes, but stay with it. And to be honest, even if you just do this repeatedly, come back to it in a few days and come back to it again, you'll be making really good progress. But I want you to take this further. So what I want you to do is this, is notice what you're feeling when you say this to yourself. What is the resistance that's popping up in your head? What are those phrases that are sort of you're saying to yourself that you can't possibly love yourself because, maybe it's because you don't deserve it. Maybe it's because nobody loves you. Whatever it is that comes up in your head, make a note of it, write it down. Also notice what you're feeling in your body as well. Where is all this stuff showing up for you in your body? Maybe it's showing up around your heart area. Maybe it's showing up around your shoulders or your head or your throat. Wherever it is, just be really aware of what is showing up in your mind and your body. And then I want you to clear all this stuff, all these thoughts and feelings. Just chuck them all in an imaginary bucket and call the bucket this. And then just add this, the word this, to your list and clear it. And all that stuff together, clear it all in one go. And once you've cleared it, go back and do the mirror exercise again. And this time it will be different. It will feel different. So notice the shift. Notice what's changed. And when you do this, if you keep doing this, gradually you'll be able to identify what the dominant thoughts are in your mind that are really sapping your ability to self-love. And then you just neutralise those ones too. So sure, this might take a while. You might want to put a couple of days into this and just sit in front of the mirror, bawling your eyes out with a huge box of tissues. I don't know. But it's worth doing this stuff because once you can start to love yourself, you can transform your life quite massively in really big ways. And it's really worth doing. You don't want to be leaving this until you retire. You want to be getting on with this quick smart so that you can start living a life that makes your heart sing. And that is why we're all here, right? What's the point of living if you're not living day by day with your heart singing? So that is what today's podcast is all about, helping you to start loving yourself. Now, I want to know how you get on. So if you do some of the exercises that I've shared with you today, please come and tell me how you got on. Email me. Come and tell me on the Facebook page at Head Trash on Facebook, or email me at hello@headtrash.co.uk. I want to know all about it. And of course, if you have any problems, then the same email address applies. Just email me and let me know how you get on. And of course, if you struggle with any of this, then just book a session. Just go to the book a session page on the headtrash.co.uk website, and I'll be more than happy to work with you over Skype and help you get some love back in your life. Thank you for listening. Until next time, bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in. You've just been listening to Alexia Leachman here on The Head Trash Show. If you enjoyed the show, she'd really appreciate you leaving a review on iTunes. And don't forget to pop over to www.headtrash.co.uk to get your copy of the free 5 Steps to Clearing Head Trash guide. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes for more strategies, tips and how-tos for clearing your head trash and reclaiming your headspace. Until next time.